We talked in our last unit about proportions, and how to solve a proportion is using cross products or cross multiplying. We can solve problems that deal with percents using a percent proportion. Proportion, like before, one ratio is compared to another, and there is a formula or a little trick to remember for the percent proportion. We have the part over the whole is always equal to the percent over 100. Percent is always compared with 100. In order to get rid of that percent sign, you write it as a fraction over 100. 4 out of 5, whatever it is out of, that is your whole, and the part is whatever's being compared with that. Now, there is another trick to help you with these problems, and that is to use what is called the is over of equals percent over 100. It's still part over whole. Is represents the part, of represents the whole, and notice percent is always over 100. But if we have a problem like this, sometimes it's confusing at first to realize, well, what's the part and what's the whole amount? So in this problem, what number is 40% of 120? I always look for the percent first. That's easy to do. You can put that on a fraction over 100. Now, 120 is the other number that we have. Is that closer to the word of, or is that closer to the word is? Well, if you look right here, it's right next to the word of. So we have our proportion. Is always represents the part, and that's why the P is there. Of represents the whole amount, and from here we would just cross multiply and divide, which is what we did in our last section. This P times 100 is represented here and simplified to 100P. 120 times 40 is your 4,800. Cancel out the 100 to get P alone, so that would mean that 48 is 40% of 120. Now here's another example. In this case, it's saying what percent of 15 is 9. We're missing the percent, so that is what is going to have the variable. The variable will be over 100. The of, as I said before, represents the whole amount. The is represents the part. Or you can remember the is over of equals percent over 100. And here I broke it down for you. The unknown percent, that's going to get our variable. This is the whole amount. This is the part. We know that this is the whole because it's closer to the word of, and that one is closer to the word is. We set up our proportion with 9 over 15, part over whole, equals to percent over 100, and then we would simply just cross multiply and divide. That would mean that $9 is 60%, don't forget your percent sign, of $15. Finally, we have word problems. This is where you cannot use the is over of trick. You have to know the part over the whole. In this case, we have the average adult male western lowland gorilla eats about 33.5 pounds of fruit each day. So over here, if you look at the chart, fruit represents 67% of that gorilla's entire diet. We only have 33.5 pounds of fruit listed. That means this is our part. This is not the whole amount of food because his whole diet for the day includes fruit, seeds, leaves, insects, and larvae. So this is our part. That's what we're given. We are looking to find our whole. We have the part, which is just the fruit, over all of the food that the gorilla eats during the day, and there's that percentage of the fruit. 67% is represented as 67 over 100. From here, we simply cross multiply and divide, and we find that the average adult male gorilla will eat about 50 pounds of food each day.